Okay, so, last time on FlatOut, we recorded and then re-recorded the 2 previous episodes, and now as a result, the overall money I have in my bank, or have collected up to this point, is just under $130,000, and I have driven nearly 400 Ks as a result of me re-recording the races I did before on the second row of the gold class. But now we just have one more row of events to go. And how am I going to do this, you may ask? Well, I'm going to figure this out as I go along. But I do have an idea of how we are going to do this. So we are going to do the 4-lap events first, and then we'll get on with the 3-lap events afterwards. However, before we do any of that, I have got some more tuning to put on this thing. And I am going to go along with this full steam ahead because I have some more money now. And also because I technically have some money to spend. Yeah, I might as well spend it on the carburetor. And I'll also put on some other upgrades as well, just to improve this car acceleration wise. That also works. Stage 3 suspension. I'll go all the way with the tyres, and I'll also put on the body upgrade. And is there anything else I can afford? Don't really need to put on another tuning kit. I'll just put on the filter. Okay, I think that should do it now. I should have put on as many upgrades as I can possibly fit to this car, whilst also not blowing away all my money in the process. So there we go. So my car is near enough to being fully upgraded, and we will start off at Red Pine River for Red Pine Run, our first of 3 races that we will do in the 4-lap events. And then afterwards I will probably get on with the other 2 races, which by the way are the 2 3-lap races. So, here we go. So we've got 4 laps around Red Pine Run, and already I have completely overshot the corner. And now I have to restart, because the game chose to not validate me once I overshot the corner. I think that's another bug this game has. I always seem to miss it on the start for some reason. And once again, I get caught up in a wreck. God, can you just fuck off and let me race? Oh, and someone else got wrecked. Well, that's now promoted me up to 4th. So it is fair to say I was not the only victim of the crash-a-thon. I think that now moves me... Does that move me up into 3rd? Oh, not yet. I'm going to assume those weren't the opponent cars. But anyway. So, heading up the bridge, and colliding with some boxes. I think I also hit a... Oh, fuck me. Are you fucking kidding me? really help if I could stop overshooting certain corners. Then maybe I might actually do better at this. And on the brakes way early this time. And there was nothing I could do about that skirmish from taking place. And someone has gone well offline, basically inside the track. And already just like that, I'm now up into second place. In spite of all my mishaps on the first lap. It seems like the AI are basically having more mishaps than what I seem to be having at the moment. Which, to me at least, at this time, is actually not too bad. Anyway. 2 laps down, and surprisingly, at the end of the second lap, I somehow wind up being at the front of the pack. And by a long way as well. It's also fair to say that if you thought my previous attempt did happen, I can assure you it didn't, because on my previous attempt, I rarely even made it through turn 1. And that's part of the reason why it was not validated as being a first run. But no matter, I am leading this race by a long way ahead of my competition, and I almost drill myself into the snowplow, but I do manage to more or less move away from it, and the wrecks are still happening. And on the brakes so I don't get caught up in another accident, and it looks like I am going to win this by a long, long, long way because of just how much less mistakes I am making. And I crossed the line at 1:47, and now I'm going to get absolutely drilled. I think it's pretty much needless to say here that I basically just dismantled the competition once I took the lead. In spite of me having a questionable start to the race after I made a few mistakes, turns out the AI were basically making a lot more mistakes than what I was. And that's part of the reason why I won this race by virtually 3/4 of a minute, which is nearly 45 seconds over Seth. So then it was Katie who finished 3rd in the Bone Cracker, Paul finished 4th, then Tanya in 5th in the Two Machines, then we had Sue finishing 6th in the Ranker 1, Ray finished 7th in the Thunderbolt, and it was Frank who finished 8th and last in the Thunderblade. Basically a minute and 36 seconds behind me. That's just how friggin' dominant I was from start to finish once I really took the lead. Well, basically from lap 2 onwards, I just absolutely destroyed the competition, because that's just how much better my car was compared to the AI. I basically put on a clinic out there once I took the lead. I know the start was inauspicious, but once I really got moving with this thing, it was more or less smooth sailing from there. So $3,000 for winning, And $72 in bonuses. That doesn't really matter. And now, let's move on to race number 2, which takes place at Hayville Farm. And then we've got the Gravel Super Smash. Let's get on with Hayville Farm Dash. And then after this, we should be fine. As we only have one more 4-lap event to do after this one. So back at Hayville Farm once again, the Hayville Farm Dash is underway again. Let's just try this again and pretend that whatever took place in the previous attempt did not just take place. Because, well, to put it simply, things were going okay, but then basically, in my typical fashion, towards the end of these races, I somehow find a way to choke away what should have been an easy win, but yet I kept wrecking myself, and that was the reason why I came up short by a long way. Because I kept finding ways to just choke away the win. And that's basically what happened in that previous attempt. Hopefully this time, however, I can manage to actually put together an effort that works. And I did just take a shortcut there. Excuse me. And yep, he is not getting out of my way. And there's no way I can take the shortcuts now because he is just blocking the passageway. It also really doesn't help to say that I physically cannot see where the corner is because of how close the shrews are, because of literally just how close the shrews are to the corner. It's almost blinding to know just how close the shrews are to the exit of the corner. You're basically entering what feels like a blind corner through there. And I just took down part of a sign. Okay. I probably should have taken down the other part of that sign. And almost getting wrecked. But I do manage to give myself an advantage up front. And that is all I really care about. Now, I just have to make sure I hold on to it. And not put myself through the agony of defeat again, like I did before. Because it would be egregious if I did. Especially since I do now have a big enough advantage at the front to say that my car is pretty much overpowered now. Compared to what it was before, when I was pretty much on the same level as the AI, but then basically once I did take the lead, I just basically stuck with it. And that's kind of the way I've more or less been learning to treat this game ever since. That should not have happened. But it doesn't matter now. And there goes the hood. And I can definitely say I've got a bent up race car here. Because I have been doing plenty of crashing from start to finish. Just to put it simply. Whilst I have been trying to pretty much ice these wins. And hopefully, since I have a big lead once again, I won't be able to choke this one away. Alright, final lap. And oh boy, is this lap going to be a long lap. Oh, I see what's holding up the water container now. It's basically just a fucking pole in the middle. That's what's holding it up. Interesting. And I once again run straight into the bales. And if you don't know what a hay bale is, then you've clearly never seen what a farm looks like. Or you've basically never even heard of a farm. I can definitely say these events have certainly been ones where I take plenty of damage in terms of the cars I'm using. Just to put it simply. I really thought for sure my guy was gonna eject from the car again. There was nothing I could do about that. About whatever the fuck that was in the middle of the road. I could not do anything about its fucking appearance because I honestly could not see it. Anyway, doesn't matter because I slam into the trees and this time I win. And there we go. So it took 1 minute and 4 seconds for everyone else to finish. And in the end, I won that race by 8.73 seconds over Seth. Frank, who finished last in the previous race, now rectifies his humiliation by finishing 3rd here. Tanya finishes 4th in the second machine, then Katie came home 5th. Paul finished 6th, Ray in 7th, and it was Sue who finished in 8th. And now I will get a replay, because that's part of the reason why I'm here in the first place. To make sure my car stands out. I think, anyway. But no matter. I'm actually kind of glad to say that I got that extra money from doing those previous 5 races over again. I definitely think they helped me in terms of putting on... Ooh, a pumpkin. They definitely helped me in terms of putting on the upgrades which I thought this car was needing in order for it to be competitive on the last row of events. Yeah, basically, if I thought the Trasher was going to pretty much block my path towards breaking through the barn, then my only real option in that instance was just to reset immediately. And that was pretty much what happened. I reset immediately once I knew that my car was not going to make it through. That's pretty much the way it happened. But either way, it don't matter. Because I still won with an advantage. And now I just have one more event to go. Okay, I think that should do it now. I would say there's enough replay evidence there for me to get one or two decent shots. And now we just have one more race to go in this segment, and then I will end it off with the 4-lap events. So we get another $3,000 for winning once the game loads. And $348 as a bonus. Cool. As we're now up to 11,700 credits. And now we have just one event remaining in this episode. And then after that we'll have just 2 races to go. And then we'll be done with the gold class, which means the mainstay progress of this game after that will pretty much be finished. But we'll still have to do the... But I still feel as though we'll have to do the bonus events in order for us to be absolutely sure. So, let's finish off our first part of this episode, and someone just launched into the air after clipping the edge of the lake, I think it is. And already I go straight into the guardrail. Huh, $459 in bonus damage. Well, bonus money. Anyway, trying again. Because that was not what I had in mind in terms of a try-hard effort. At least I can say the extra money doesn't disappoint. Because I can definitely say I earned that side of the money. Without any doubts. This game takes a while to load. I feel like I mentioned that a few times before, but I feel like I'm probably going to keep saying that until I'm finished with the game. You know what, I'm just going to give the AI a head start here, because it's inevitable to say that they're just going to wreck each other either way, regardless of what I try and do to avoid it. It might actually help if I don't take damage immediately, while the AI are basically just flip-flopping all over the goddamn place. And I'm just getting involved in their acts of complete mischief. Maybe I should consider avoiding that. Maybe I should consider avoiding that pipeline to the gutter. Well, the pipeline that leads to the cement mixer. And yep, everyone is just wrecking themselves at the moment. Kind of what I was expecting. Especially if you consider my prior experience up to this point. Jesus, okay. I really thought for sure the car was going to snap and then just throw me off the track I'm honestly glad to say I saved it. But either way, I'm now closing in on the leader again, so hopefully I can manage to avoid destroying myself this time. Okay. Well, that could have been a lot worse than it actually was, but I'm kind of okay to say it turned out the way it did. Because that could have been a lot worse than it actually was, in my opinion. I don't think I could have got a straight line run through there any better than what I just did there. I'm honestly amazed to say the engine isn't on fire at the moment, like it was before. And there goes one of the exhaust pipes. And immediately resetting because I have to. But nonetheless, I am continuing to shape. I am continuing to shape my foundation. Alright, final lap. And it looks like at this stage I'm going to be having a hard time trying to finish this race with the way things are currently working out, because they are not working out very well for me at the moment. And it almost feels like my efforts at this stage are dying. And now the engine is on fire. Even though this car is somehow still drivable. In spite of my engine itself basically being a furnace at this stage. I'm basically trying to do a Grand Prix style finish. I refer to the movie, by the way, if you're asking. I mean the movie Grand Prix, the one from the mid-60s, where James Garner is basically driving a Honda up to the finish line, even though fuel is basically spilling on the engine, and he's basically driving that Honda while it's literally on fire behind him, knowing that it's basically on the last lap, and literally he manages to finish in second in that race. You're probably not familiar with the movie Grand Prix, and what a way to end that. Not only do I get drilled at the end, I basically get drilled whilst also ejecting from my car by Tanya. So Ray finished in second, 21.32 seconds behind me. Then we had Paul in third, so a double podium for the machines. Katie finished fourth in the Bone Cracker, Frank fifth, Seth in sixth, Sue in seventh, and Tanya finished in eighth. in the third machine. 51 seconds behind me, no less. Yeah, I figured if I gave the AI a head start, it would at least keep me out of trouble early on, and it would also help me to work towards the front, while the AI were just continually wrecking themselves. That's basically what my strategy was. And it worked. Because I eventually scored 3 wins. So another $3,000 is ours, and almost $500 in the bonus. Cool. As I have now moved up from about, I think was it $3,000 before? Yeah, I think it was $3,000. And I've now moved up to 17,000 as a result of me grinding through those races. But anyway, so these are the upgrades I now have on the car. Most of them are more or less racing parts, or half of them anyway. And we are now 94% complete with the game. We've spent a total of 143,000 overall, and we have driven 435 kilometers as of the second to last episode in the race events. And now we must go and do those race events. Coming in the next episode of FlatOut 1. You love the rush, you gonna snap